Hello and welcome back to the SNS Football Podcast. We are back again. I lose track of what episode it is, but it is episode 9. And we have got a huge show tonight because we've got the Premier League to cover. We've got the FA Cup to cover. We've got the Champions League draw to cover. And we've also got the Europa League draw to cover. All of which has got bundles of teams involved, of which United are in there, thank the Lord. And Chelsea are in there as well. Villa obviously in the Premier League as well. So I'm not going to be on my own to do this. Of course, we're bringing back the crew as always. We've got Villa Morgan with us. So firstly, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. How are you?
All good here. And we've got another guest who's going to join us from the beginning this week, and we have him on so many times, he might as well be part of this this podcast now, but he isn't as of yet. However, he's got a new name since he come on here because I can't say Morgan without them two getting confused. So, Chelsea Morgan, how are you, mate?
I'm good. Good to be back again.
Mate, it's always a pleasure having you on, and we're not just using you every week. This is all down to the Chelsea's recent performances in the Champions League and obviously the draw which took place today. But we will get on to that later. If you are watching and you haven't already subscribed, what are you doing? I mean, come on. We're about 10, 11 subs away from 50. So please, if you can help us get to there, it would mean a lot. Please make sure if you are liking our content that you do hit the like button and follow our Twitter where we will put football news on there. So yeah, help us get to 50 subs. We'll crack straight on with sort of the Premier League just to begin with. We picked out a handful of fixtures just to sort of quickly go over. First one of which is one that Villa Morgan had to leave us with at the end of last week's episode because Villa was involved. And I remember being downstairs and I got a message through in block capitals just saying Watkins. So I knew they were winning. It's only when I checked my phone the next day that they drew 1-0. You didn't tell me that, Morgan. So the stage is yours. What went right? What went wrong? And yeah.
Do you know what? It was embarrassing. It was so bad. It was so bad. So bad. Do you know what? Credit to Newcastle. They were brilliant. Like, I'm not even going to hang about it. I was texting my mate throughout the game and I said to him, look, you lot have been the better side in this game. Joe Linton was running Tyrone Mings absolutely ragged. I don't think I've ever seen anyone run Mings that ragged. Whilst he's been in a Villa shirt, it was quite bad. If Joe Linton had a bit of end product, we would have been 2 or 3-0 down at half time. But look, from our point of view, I'm not going to gloss over it too much. It was a dire performance. We thought Matty Cash should be back. He wasn't. He was on the bench, but Elmo did a good enough job coming into the side. Team selection was something that Dean Smith got heavily criticised for. I think McGinn needs a rest. He looked absolutely shattered in this game. Ramsey didn't really offer it, and I don't think it was his type of game. I thought Barkley should have probably started. You need an experienced player like Barkley in a game like this, and to play Ramsey was quite bold from him. But look, it was poor all round. Probably one of our worst, if not the worst, performance of the season. We were very lucky to go 1-0 up for a deflection, which went down as a Clark own goal instead of Watkins, which is a shame because Watkins deserved the goal. But the only player that I can say that deserved any credit was Ezri Konsa, who I imagine we'll get onto at some point, but I think it's a joke that he hasn't got into the England side, especially considering Tyrone Mings has got in there. I honestly think it's a joke. He was sensational again in this game. He saved us so many times, but Newcastle, they should have won this game. You look at how their situation is down at the bottom of the league, and with Brighton getting points down there, Burnley getting points down there, Fulham getting points down there, in a game that they deserved to win, they should have got 3 points out of this. And the fact that they salvaged a 94th minute goal to just get a point shows how poor they are going forward, because if they had an attacking threat and a goal scorer, they'd have finished us off 3 or 4-0. I've got no doubt we were that bad. Joe Willock, I thought was really good for him as well. Really, really good in midfield. He looks like he looks for me like a player that should probably move to a club like Newcastle if they stay up. But look, regardless of how bad you play, you should never concede a goal in the 94th minute. I think there was a picture that come out of Sanson having the ball on the edge of the box with no one around him with 30 seconds to go, and we somehow conceded a goal. There was just individual errors, and our game management was really poor, which is unlike Villa this season. Usually when we go 1-0 up in a game, you think, yeah, that's the one done and dusted. But the thing is that we're just not in a great patch of form at the moment, and hopefully now with a massive boost in Jack Grealish potentially being back and Matty Cash being back for Spurs, we're going to see the Villa of old, the Villa that was playing in December rather than the Villa that's playing now, because it is so bad. It really is.
Yeah, I think, let's face it, Villa they're still having a fantastic season based off of where they finished last. And, I think even with your game in hand, you can still, catch up with the likes of Liverpool and then the big boys like that. Just quickly on Newcastle, obviously they're down near the bottom. They're really scrapping in there. We've seen Brighton beat Southampton at the weekend, which is a big result for them. You're seeing the likes of Fulham picking up huge results as well. I think you could probably say Sheffield United and West Brom have got a very, very uphill task to stay in the Premier League. So do you think Newcastle, I'll go to Chelsea, Morgan, do you see Newcastle getting sucked into this quite badly? And also, St. Maximin looks like he's on his way back very shortly. Is that a key player for them to have back?
That was going to be my point, is with St. Maximin and Almiron both being out injured and have been out injured for most of the season, they're their two most creative outlets that they've used last season and this season. So for that's where the Newcastle lack, because we've seen going forwards that they do have the firepower, and in midfield with the likes of George Shelby, they can create. It's then getting in that final thirds, they seem to have started. Joe Linton hasn't fired away a £40 million striker should. Andy Carroll is aging, and I think he's only scored 1 goal since he's been back at the club. So they need to get St. Maximin and Almiron back as soon as possible, really. Otherwise, they are in real danger of being very similar to Brighton, really, where they create a lot of opportunities but don't get much from it.
Definitely. I think, you mentioned Brighton and their lack of sort of goal scoring ability, and Newcastle, I think Wilson, like I said, is a huge miss for them. Couple of comments in. FPL boys are back. Thank you for tuning in. And Pogba's tricky zebra reds. We will get onto that in a bit. So thank you for tuning in, guys, and keep up the excellent work. And hope to see you very soon. We'll move on from Newcastle Villa because we've got so much to get through tonight. Chelsea Morgan will come to you next. Early kickoff on Saturday, Leeds 0, Chelsea 0. I'll be honest, I can't remember what we all predicted for this game. And I know Villa Morgan was watching the Villa game. But was it a 0-0 game? Was it something you should have won? Or was it a game where you think, we were actually quite lucky to get a draw out of it? What was your view on this one?
I mean, I predicted 2-0 Chelsea for this one, which obviously didn't happen. And if anything, it was one which really disappointed me after the way we played against Everton and Liverpool leading up to it. We'd sort of really been looking like we're becoming a cohesive attacking unit where everyone's going together. But Kai Havertz in that number 9 role against Everton on Monday night, looking like this could be his role. This is where we're going to see the best of him. Putting that on Saturday, and it was just a completely different player. There was no run. Ziyech had chances where he could have run into the box and kind of just held his run back. And the best opportunity to Leeds, it was offside in the end, but they did tuck it away on the counter attack, and that's where the best chances came from. Is them soaking up our pressure and hitting us on the counter. we changed the system, like we played 4 at the back for the first time under Tuchel in this one, and it didn't look as solid at the back as we have. And even though we didn't concede, we still didn't look quite the finished article, which is where that building process is going to come. Yeah, I don't think we created enough. We created enough to say we should have won, but not enough good chances to say we definitely should have won. So it's one of those where next season and in weeks to come, you'll be saying Chelsea won this one easily. But at the moment, while we're still learning the system and players are still finding out where they belong, it's going to be a few more matches like this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, a 0-0 against Leeds, you never know which Leeds is going to turn up, whether it'll be a team that, for example, played against Man United and conceded 6, or a team which, ends up winning 4-0, or just 0-0. You can never tell with Leeds. Quick word on Kai Havertz, obviously playing in a new role, that number 9, like you mentioned. Is that the best of him you've seen at Chelsea in that role? And do you think, can he cement that going forward to help you ultimately, as every club wants to do, win the Premier League again?
Yeah, I mean, against Everton, I'll keep going back to that one because that's the best game I've seen him in that role. He was getting across the front post, and the goal that was ruled out for this very questionable handball, where it came into his chest, swiveled shot, and he seemed very good at mobilising. Because being a tall player, he's still quite mobile on the ball. So he seemed to be very easily in front of a centre half to turn and get a shot away. He's also very capable of dropping deeper to influence the rest of the attack, pulling in the likes of Werner, Mount, whoever's playing in the 2 number 10 roles we've got. So it definitely is the role that works best for him. It's just a case of getting that confidence in front of goal, because even though he was involved in both goals against Everton and he was again involved heavily against Atletico Madrid in the week, he's still not quite got the confidence to put the ball in the back of the net consistently. So, yeah, number 9 is his role, but the goals are going to be crucial.
I think, just to sort of finish up on Havertz, I don't know whether he was one of the names we mentioned when, Chelsea were going through a bit of a tough patch, and we said, do you think any of these summer signings could be moved on in the summer? Obviously, you'd still keep Havertz now. Is there any doubt that you might still want to sell him in the summer to try and recoup a little bit of money, and possibly find a better striker like Haaland that you're linked with? Or is it, we'll keep Havertz and work on him because he's still young and got good potential?
No point selling Havertz because he's so young, because we spent so much money, and just looking at what we're building, what he can provide. He can play in such a variety of roles that there's no point selling him. Even if we do get Haaland in, he will still have a role in the team, and Tuchel said that. And it would be another one of Chelsea's infamous "you sold him too soon," in my opinion. And we've seen this season, even in a patchy season where he's had injuries, he's had COVID, we still see moments of brilliance. So I'd like to see him, even if we see two more seasons of him still struggling, but gradually getting better year on year. I'd rather see that than him shipped out this summer.
Fair enough. We'll move on from Leeds Chelsea to Fulham 0, Man City 3. Villa Morgan, I know you watched this. Unfortunately, Scott Parker couldn't make it. 2 incredible away wins on the bounce, with obviously a win at Anfield and then following up with a win at home to Man City. I think we all know that the title is pretty much wrapped up for City, bar a catastrophic collapse and then Man United having to do something quite remarkable to catch them. But with Fulham, they've still got enough to stay in this league. And with City, it's just a matter of time, isn't it?
Yeah. I think this game for Fulham was more a case of don't get absolutely smashed, because I think Scott Parker would have been coming into this game knowing that Man City are obviously on a remarkable run of form. They're a great team, and what you have to think is down there, the goal difference situation, if they'd have got dumped 5 or 6-0, that can really, really hurt them at the end of the season if it does come down to goal difference. So, yeah, 3 is not great, but to be honest with you, I don't really think it was a 3-0 game. I think, look, Fulham did really well in the first half to contain Man City. They were compact. They did really well out of possession especially. But then the second half, John Stones scores that goal. Complexity of the game just changes. And unfortunately, it ended up being like a training session. So, yeah, it was a shame. It was a shame. But do you know what? They still showed signs in this game that they are making drastic progress. And look, City are relentless. They're like a machine right now. You know, they're apart from obviously United ruining the run, they've been faultless. Absolutely.
That's our trophy. Thank you.
Since. But but look, I think you'll see how much it's affected Fulham in about 40 minutes time when they go and play Leeds, because they need confidence going into that game. Leeds are no easy task, and I think Fulham really need a win tonight, because looking at Newcastle's fixtures list, if you compare Fulham and Newcastle have got a horrible run of fixtures, and Fulham's is no better, but Newcastle's is vile. And Newcastle have Sheffield United at home on the second last day, and then Fulham at Craven Cottage on the final day. So ideally for Fulham need to be clear of Newcastle before that game, because you never want to go into a game with it all riding on whoever wins stays up. You know, I've been in that situation last season with Villa. It's horrible. So
if we were Vargo, it's awful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, good win for City. I think that's pretty much the title given to them now.
Unfortunately, I think that's been the case for a long time. I mean, I think I mentioned on the last episode, unfortunately, after the United win against City, we didn't get an episode out, because I would have said at that point United still have a chance of winning the league, because we don't know how City react to losing a game. We don't know whether they're going to bounce back straight away, or maybe draw a game, lose another game. But obviously they went and battered Southampton, I think 3 days later. So that was our chances up in smoke anyway. So yeah, I think, like I said, it's Man City's title. Fulham, I think, if you look at them teams down there, like we mentioned, your Newcastles, your Brightons. Brighton managed to pick up 3 points against Southampton. Fulham have been picking up results and playing better as well. So you fear for the likes of Newcastle, who sometimes don't play as well and don't pick up the points either. So, like I said, I think that game right at the bottom of the table on the last day is going to be very, very interesting. I did flash up a comment during then. I didn't want to break your flow, but Pete come back and said Spurs are in the mud, and we will go and talk about Spurs now. Well, Chelsea Morgan's loving it, and you're going to have a good episode tonight, mate. You're going to have a great time. So we'll start with this game. Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1. I think the first thing we have to go to is simple yes-no answer. Penalty or not?
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
Oh, I thought you would have seen it.
No,
I haven't.
I don't think it's a pen either.
No.
I didn't watch this game. I was at work, but no, I haven't seen it. But looking at the result, and there were a few other results like this from a Chelsea point of view, where you're thinking, right, we've given other teams a real big opportunity here. We've drawn 0-0, dropped 2 points. West Ham, Everton, Tottenham, you can proper put us under pressure here, and squeaky bum time. None of them did. We still gained an advantage despite the fact we dropped sloppy points. So, and that's what it comes down to. It was the same last season. It was the same in 2019. I remember the 2019 and even last season, it was almost the teams didn't want to get into the top 4. You're constantly picking up 1 point, and the others are just dropping away. So, yeah, losing to Arsenal this season is pretty. I'm talking as a Chelsea fan, it's pretty embarrassing.
I don't think you're too far off it then. I think Tottenham are on an abysmal sort of form at the minute. They had a couple of fantastic results. They beat Burnley 4-0 at home. I think they beat Southampton, or no, not Southampton, Palace 4-2 at home. Scoring a lot of goals. Beat Zagreb, obviously 2-0 in the first leg, and you think, they're pretty much home and dry. All they got to do is pretty much score away from home and they're through. And we'll get onto that in a bit. But this loss sort of sandwiched in with what happened last night as well. It's an interesting time to be a Tottenham fan, and I think we've obviously got the Carabao Cup final coming up against City soon. I think we all know how that could be, but like I've said before, it's a cup final. You never know who plays well and who plays bad. It's one of them things. So just sort of widen it onto sort of Mourinho at Tottenham. Do you think he could get the sack now? Because we've spoken about it before, about Tottenham possibly not living up to expectations with Mourinho coming in, and he's a winner and he's there to win. They're in the Carabao Cup final. They got bumped out the Europa League last night, which is arguably their best chance to get Champions League football. And I said at the beginning of the season, I said it wouldn't surprise me if Mourinho did at Tottenham exactly what he did at United, where, come second half of the season, you weren't going to get top four. You weren't really in much stuff. So you binned off a few Premier League games to go all out for the Europa League. Well, I think he tried to do that, but they're out now. So he's only got the Carabao Cup and the league left, of which they're probably not going to finish top four. So is Mourinho on a sticky wicket? Will they get rid of him? What's your thoughts on that sort of the pair of you?
Mourinho was brought in to get Tottenham back into the top four. That was the job description come November 2019, when Pochettino was wrongly or rightly given the sack, depending on your point of view. What he did in the first season, getting them back towards the Europa League, was decent, but it was kind of, you could have done a bit more. You didn't really challenge in any of the domestic competitions. You got the European football, so well done, but you need to get a better of the second season, was the general consensus among Tottenham fans and other top six and Premier League fans. This season started really well. I mean, top of the league, I was genuinely thinking no team looks better than Tottenham at the moment.
Beat City 2-0, I remember that as a big game.
Yeah, so... And you're thinking Mourinho's second season, we've seen this before. He won trophies at United in his second season. At Chelsea, every time in his second season.
No, he didn't. Not United second season.
Was it not United second season?
He beat us in the FA Cup final. We got second that season.
But, he does well. The second season is normally the one where he gets his trophies, and it's normally the happy season under Mourinho, and the third season where things go wrong. He questioned the attitude of his players last night, which is wrongly or rightly, that can sometimes be the one that starts a manager's downfall, because then the players are more likely to turn their back. The reason I don't think he'll get sacked, and the reason I think he's okay at the moment, they're in a cup final, and that's what Jose Mourinho is best at, is winning competitions. He's proven that. The issue he's got is for some reason, his lifespan as a manager is so small now. He seems to come in with this love of the game every time, and now it's within 12 months, it's falling away again. So I can't see him there much past. If he stays past the end of this season, I can't see him there much past Christmas.
Villa Morgan, will come to you. Like Morgan said, they're in the cup final. If you have to look at it and say City are the obvious favourites. If he wins that cup final, big if, but there's still a chance, that will obviously keep him in a job, because that'd be their first trophy since 2008, I think. But do you think Tottenham will have reservations about, third season Mourinho, where it always goes bang?
I think people need to I think the Arsenal game is a massive, massive opportunity to look up everything that's going wrong with Mourinho and Tottenham right now. The way they approach the game, all wrong. Arsenal this season have been terrible playing out from the back. Weeks before, Xhaka giving it to Chris Wood and letting him score. Olympiacos in the first
Well,
leg
he
of
gave
the
it to him.
Europa
He hit it
League.
off him, didn't he? He just walloped it off
Arsenal
him.
have been. It's actually ridiculous how bad they have been playing out from the back. And you would have thought with Tottenham coming into this game have been playing this more attacking, free-flowing style. They've pressed a lot higher. Why didn't they press higher against an Arsenal side that are quite clearly terrible under pressure? It made absolutely no sense. If you low press Arsenal and let them come onto you, they will beat you. They have got the players now to beat you. And we saw with Villa twice this season, you cannot give Arsenal a minute on the ball. You have to go and press them. They're not very good at the back. And going into a game with Bale, Son, Moura, Harry Kane, I honestly can't remember until the last 10 minutes Harry Kane having a touch. It was that bad. It was all Arsenal. It was probably the most comfortable North London derby I've ever seen. It was so one-sided in favour of Arsenal. It was ridiculous. Tottenham just didn't turn up. And you look at the tactics, and I think the problem you've got is that you can see them players going, why are we doing this? Arsenal are shocking at the back. Why are we sitting off them? Why can't we just go and attack them? And I feel like this happens to every Mourinho team. The problem is now is that at the start, it's great when they get results. But when it's not working, the players quite clearly don't want to play like that. And the players quite clearly believe themselves that they can play differently and get better results. And it must be so demotivating going out there. Like, you cast your mind back to the Crystal Palace away, 1-0 up, and then he parks the bus, tells them to drop back 10 yards and soak up the pressure. They concede, let it slip. There's been so many games this year where you're not telling me that there is not a manager out there who can get arguably one of the best front fours or front threes in Europe or in the world in Son, Kane and Bale when they're all firing. You're not telling me that there's a manager that can take that team to the next level and win them trophies. The problem is that Mourinho has got this title of winning trophies, and yeah, he has been a great manager, but tactically, has he got it anymore? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I've seen so many.
I had massive reservations of Mourinho going to Tottenham because I thought I couldn't see him lasting in the game now, because based off of his final few years or final season at United and then coming into this now, he started off okay, got Tottenham back into Europa League, but it still wasn't like, huge results or anything. And then this season, obviously, they started really well and have fallen off now. But Tottenham are where they are at the minute, and it's just like you mentioned, they got Bond, Sane, and Kale, as a front three, and we said this at the beginning of the season. They had a half decent transfer window, got in what they needed in terms of a backup striker to Kane. I know it's Vinicius, but they needed one. Got Bale back, got a new left back, got a centre half in. I know it's Joe Rodon, and you could say, is he Premier League quality, X, Y, Z, but they needed a centre half. They got one.
Do you know what?
So they had a decent transfer window.
I want to challenge that. I don't think they have. I don't think they have at all. That defence is shocking, absolutely shocking. I'm sorry, but there are teams that I would rate Tottenham's defence as one of the worst 5 in this league. It is honestly appalling. The way they defend, if they didn't have Højbjerg protecting that defence and on Dembele and Sissoko, I'm telling you now, they would get found out a lot more. You have to question the business. They bring in Matt Doherty from Wolves.
Well,
they bring in Reguilon from Real Madrid, both of which have been commonly known to play wing-back positions. Remember that, wing-back positions. He then tries to play them both in a back four. Matt Doherty is terrible in a back four. He is a wing back, not a right back. He is a wing back. He was brilliant at Wolves because he used to get forward and he was brilliant in a system. And he's gone to Spurs and he's been terrible because, unfortunately, he is a player that he is good in a system. He was good in Nuno's system as a wing back. Putting him at a full back, he has no idea what to do. And Reguilon, as good as a player he is, you saw in that North London derby. He had no licence to get forward. He had no licence whatsoever to get forward. And the problem is that it seems like Mourinho's making up as it goes along. Where's this back three gone that was working at the start of the season? Where has it gone? You've brought Doherty in, a wing back. You've brought Reguilon in, a wing back. Why aren't you playing them in their natural positions? It just, to me, it genuinely seems like Mourinho goes into any dressing room now, and it is his ego. You're either with me or you're not, and if you ain't, you can do one. And the problem is that the modern day game has evolved from that. Tactics have evolved. You can't sit back and park the bus anymore because there are too many managers in the Premier League that have influenced the game attacking wise and have almost given out blueprints to everyone else to go, if teams want to play a low block and teams want to park the bus, here's how you do it. And teams know now that Tottenham are just going to put 10 men behind the ball. Harry Kane, I'm sorry, Harry Kane cannot enjoy sitting, watching Harrison Reed, for example, bopping the ball about midfield for Fulham with no Tottenham player in sight next to him. Surely he's thinking to himself, what am I doing here? What am I actually doing here? I'm not going to win anything because I don't think they've got a chance in the cup final. I'm sorry. I think they're going to get battered personally, but you never know. But I see them players and they don't believe what they're getting told. You can tell. And there's a miscommunication between the team and the manager. And when that happens, it's time to go. It is time to go. It has to be done.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
He's got to go for me. It's not working out.
If he wins, just before we come to you, Chelsea Morgan, simple yes, no for you, Villa Morgan. If he wins the cup final, does he stay in a job?
No. I don't think he is nothing of what Tottenham Hotspur are. He resembles absolutely nothing to what they are. And do you know what? The thing is that Tottenham have made themselves this glamorous club where it's like Gareth Bale, the kid who was born to play for Spurs, and all this romanticism and love. The Tottenham fan base is in absolute bits. I'd put it on the same level as Steve Bruce and Newcastle fans. Honestly, go onto any single Tottenham tweet, Instagram post, anything, top comments, Mourinho out, get him out, it's terrible. We don't care if we win the cup final. It's terrible football. There's no long-term vision. We want him gone. And Daniel Levy, I think he's made a mistake. I really do. I think you've been making a deal with the devil and going, look, get us a trophy. That isn't what a club should be thinking about. Tottenham should be rebuilding a squad to go again like Poch did.
Yeah.
Depends what your club is on that one, because at a club like Chelsea, City, trophies are everything, and that's what a manager's reign begins and ends with. Tottenham, under Pochettino, built this kind of ethos. They were this very glamorous, beautiful football, playing it through the thirds, attacking as one, defending as one. Could beat anyone, could lose to anyone, but they wouldn't lose because they were embarrassed, kind of thing. And now under Mourinho, it's interesting that you made the comment of they're weak defensively, because Mourinho teams have never been weak defensively. You look at the United side, you look at the Chelsea side, you look at the Real Madrid side, you look at the Inter Milan sides. None of them, even Porto, none of them were weak defensively. They all had that core centre-half partnership, which then built them made them really solid to go forwards. I think when you play a three at the back, I always have done. You question why you're playing a three at the back. Are you saying that that's your best system to incorporate the other players, or are you saying that you don't trust your centre backs to play as a pair because they'll be too weak, there'll be too many holes? I think he's tried it. Clearly, he's tried it as a four, but he's so stubborn these days. And to be fair, it's not been uncommon of Mourinho that he will stick with it until it works. And if it doesn't work, he's out the door. So that's where football's kind of left him behind, because other managers are really quick to adapt. Pep's quick to adapt. Young Klopp's quick to adapt. He doesn't seem to be able to keep up. And I questioned it at the time when he was disappointed. He'd gone out from he went from Chelsea to United way too quickly, in my opinion. He was hot-headed from the Chelsea job. He rushed into the United one and just wanted kind of a rebound. And then he took that break from when he left United. He went and worked for Sky for a bit, and I thought, okay, maybe he's getting his mojo back, getting his love for the game back, learning it from different sides. And then he's gone to Tottenham, and like I said, it seemed to all be switched light, but the same problems keep on arising. That he's sitting back very quickly, which he never used to do, but sitting back very quickly in matches just doesn't work anymore. You have to keep, as we've said, attack is the best form of defence, and he doesn't do that.
Definitely. We could talk about Tottenham all night, and we will do later on as well. So we'll leave Tottenham there. Couple comments in. They can't afford to get rid of him. He would cost them 40 million. I don't know.
That's a Daniel Levy problem. That
he's
too afraid to go into his pocket.
Exactly. So 40 million. And Reece has said he has to go, blood. So another iconic quote there. We'll move on to Man United 1, West Ham 0. I'll speak about this one for a little bit, and then if either of you two watched it, you can add your point in. I thought West Ham were shocking, absolutely shocking, and that's not even buttering it up. If you were to tell me that this is West Ham, I would have thought they were 19th in the Premier League, scrapping relegation, the way they set up in this game. And I know they missed Lingard, because obviously he can't play against us, and I think Fornals was the other one injured. But the same, that core of their team was still there, and they were so defensive. Like, honestly, it was. I don't like. Obviously, when you expect Sheffield United or West Brom or teams that are in the relegation to come to Old Trafford, you expect them to sit back. But West Ham, who were in fifth, who are chasing down Champions League, they're in that Europa League space. They're looking to go to Man United, get a big statement result to really kick on for the rest of the season. I was like, I can't believe what I'm watching here. It was that bad of a performance from them. And it was just like, if United score, then all of a sudden they'll start attacking. But even when they did, I think they may have had one real good opportunity. Dean Henderson had barely anything to do all game. Fabianski pulled off another worldy game against us. You think he denied Greenwood onto the post. Greenwood hit the post again late on. But yeah, I know he scored through an own goal, but there was only one team going to score, and that was going to be Man United. And then once we scored, it was just, right, can we just get the 3 points and get this over and done with? Because, yes, they started to attack a bit more, but it was like, I don't understand why they waited to go 1-0 down to, start having a go at it. But look, 3 points, another week where Leicester had won before us, so they beat Sheffield United 5-0. It was like, well, you have to win again to go above them again, back into second. So, yeah, it was a must-win game. And, going into it, West Ham hot on form, all firing all cylinders. And, I was really disappointed with them, to be honest. And I think Maguire was fantastic again. I can't remember who played against next to him, whether it's Bailly or Lindelof. But I think the defence did well. And yeah, we've obviously had injuries and we've got players coming back now, which is good. So, yeah, we've got through that difficult little period with some decent results, some good wins like this one. And we'll speak more about United last night in a bit. But yeah, we just got through that. And like I said, bitterly disappointed in how West Ham played and approached the game. I think I've seen a stat where since David Moyes made his managerial debut in the Premier League, he's not beaten a top 6 club away from home or something like that, which, you know, is mind-boggling. But yeah, I don't know if any of you to watch the game or have anything on it.
I think you covered most of it.
Yeah, well, I think there was this game and the Tottenham game where I was really surprised at the tactics of both Tottenham and West Ham. You know, I was watching the kickoff, and Bazinga, being a West Ham fan, he was stunned as well. He couldn't believe how defensive they were going. He said he doesn't understand why they set up like that. But at the end of the day, like, we can't vouch for why these managers set up this way. They clearly believe that it's the best form of winning a game. I think we've seen with United that sometimes, especially at the moment, they find it hard to break teams down. So I guess West Ham were probably just setting up for a smash and grab. And it didn't really work because, unfortunately, when you invite that much pressure and you've got players that have got quality, you're just going to get picked off. So, yeah, you summed it up pretty well, mate.
Perfect. The last game that we're going to cover, I only wanted to put this in because I think I don't know if I got the score correct, but I definitely got the goal scorer correct. Wolves 0, Liverpool 1, and Diogo Jota with a goal. I said it. I said he's going to score against his old club, and there we go. But having said that, is this a shock result in terms of the fact that Liverpool were on such poor form and Fulham's beaten them? You know, teams are getting results against them. And then you fancy Wolves who, you know, yes, they've been inconsistent this year, but they still do have good quality in their team with the likes of Neves, Moutinho, Neto, players like that. And you are going to be fancy them to go and get, you know, a result against Liverpool. But Liverpool come out 1-0 winners. Was it a shock result, or am I just overthinking it because Liverpool are doing badly?
This didn't surprise me. Liverpool can do as bad as they have been, but it's still Liverpool. Jota had just come back from injury, so this was I think this was his 4th game back or something. So he just kind of bedded him back into the side. And away from home, their form hasn't really dipped. It's only been at Anfield, and we kind of saw that with the RB Leipzig matches as well. So I don't think there's been any reason to believe wholeheartedly that Liverpool would lose this. If you flip the sides around, you say Liverpool at Anfield, Wolves away, then I'd probably say, yeah, this is a bit more of a shock. But no, Wolves, with the way they played this season, they've been inconsistent. Defensively at times looked all over the place, so I'm not surprised.
Morgan, thoughts on it?
Just a game that Liverpool needed to win, really. I think, you know, Wolves away last season is a lot harder a game. I think Wolves without Raul Jimenez are a completely different side, as we've said before. And it's unfortunate for Wolves because even though they're a rival, you never really like to see a team struggle because they've lost their best player. And you know, I have to wish Rui Patricio as well a speedy recovery because that was a horrific clash with Connor Cody. So again, even more bad luck for Wolves.
Not having Patricio, because obviously Patricio's been pretty much an ever present since he's been at Wolves in the Premier League. They'll now have to rely on John Ruddy. I wonder how much that's going to affect the rest of their season going into next season as well.
I think personally, Ruddy is a very steady keeper. When he's come in, he's done okay. He's not obviously anywhere near the level of Rui Patricio, but he played for him in the Championship a lot for long periods before Rui Patricio came into the club, and a lot of the defenders that Wolves currently have, you know, you look at Saïs and Connor Cody in particular. They obviously played with him in the Championship, so I don't necessarily think it would hinder them that much. But look, they're on 35 points and they're not safe yet. So look, you know, this could be another massive monumental miss for them. And I think Wolves have done enough, I guess, with the amount of games that they've got left to stay in the Premier League. But I tell you something, they've had to grind out a few results this year to steer their way out, because missing Raul Jimenez has been it's been so bad for them. Watching William Jose is like watching. You may as well just shove a brick on the pitch. You'll have more movement. He just doesn't. He just doesn't offer anything. I didn't get the transfer at the time. Bringing Crotone back, I think we mentioned, and then letting him go back out on loan or something. I don't know whether William Jose was a late one, but yeah, no. In terms of Liverpool, Jota's just a class player, isn't he? Like, you just have to say he is brilliant. And I was one that when Wolves let him go, I thought, why? Like, why have you let him go just to warm Liverpool's bench? But I tell you something, he's been injured for most of the season and he's still been better than Mane. So it just shows how poor Mane's been this season.
Definitely, I think, he's Neto's definitely one player who's been outstanding this season, and I think a lot of clubs could be looking at him, not necessarily this summer, but I think in the future, and I think for big money as well, if he can keep up the form. That's all the results we're going to go over. We're just going to go over a few of the Premier League fixtures, which are coming up sort of tonight and this weekend. We'll just give quick score predictions for these. We'll go around and do them. Fulham Leeds, like we've mentioned, this could be a very winnable game for Fulham. But as always, which Leeds is going to turn up? So, place your prediction at your own risk, because, you could say Fulham win 1-0 and Leeds will win 4-0 or something. So I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham, because I think Fulham will get a big win and one of the teams above them, possibly Newcastle, will slip up soon. I think this could be, a really big game for Fulham, because the next score prediction we're going to do is another big one for the teams down the bottom. So I'm going to go 2-1 Fulham. Villa Morgan will come to you next if you've got yours ready.
Fulham 1, Leeds.
Is that 1-0?
1-0 for Fulham.
Decent. Chelsea Morgan,
I think
down to you. Go on.
It might not. I might be thinking too much into this, but I think Leeds are going to have, and this is probably famous last words, but I think Patrick Bamford's going to be massively affected by the England squad announcement. I think reading not only how annoyed Leeds fans are, but it seems like there's a bit of an uproar, and he must be gutted, absolutely gutted. And it's only going to go one of two ways for him. He's either going to net a brace tonight and go to Southgate, yeah, all right, go on, go and take the strikers that you already have. I'll just stay here and bang for Leeds. Or he's going to just completely go into his shell like Bamford of old and not perform. I think Leeds heavily rely on him. I really do. Leeds, he's so influential to how they play, and so is Calvin Phillips, who is back as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if Leeds did go on and win tonight, but Fulham need the win and they're scrapping for their life down there. And if they can win this game, they've got some big games coming up, Fulham. So, yeah, 1-0 tonight.
Well, then, Chelsea Morgan, give your thoughts.
1-0.
1-0?
Yeah, I think both sides, I think they'll cancel each other out. I've just seen a stat come up. Leeds have scored 43 goals this season, conceded 46. Most goals in games in the Premier League. So there will be goals from both teams, clearly. But I can't, from the leads I saw on Saturday, I don't know how much I'll be able to change from that. And yeah, Fulham are performing well. They're creating chances. They're not conceding goals at the moment. So yeah, I think 1-1 or even 0-0.
Interesting. Another big game down the bottom. Brighton against Newcastle. Now, Brighton coming off a win. Newcastle coming off of, is it a draw or a loss? Yeah, coming off a draw, I thought it was. Is this a game where form sort of goes out the window a little bit? It's like one of them games where both teams have to win and they could end up just throwing everything at it, because if one team wins this, it's sort of advantage over the other going into the running of games. And although Brighton and Newcastle aren't in the bottom three, with Fulham hot on their heels, you've got to think if any team wins, whoever wins this game, if there is a winner, that'll be a very big confidence booster possibly for the end of the season and the running that they've got. However, I think I'm going to go 1-1. I don't think there'll be many goals in this because we know what Brighton's like in front of goal and we know what Newcastle like in front of goal. But I'm going to go 1-0. I don't think there'll be a winner and it'll make it even more cagey sort of for the last sort of end of the season. So I'm going to 1-0, but I think this is a massive game, a massive, massive game.
One thing that you have to consider here is that both of these teams do have a game in hand on Fulham, regardless of this game, because obviously Fulham play tonight, these two play tomorrow, so they still both have a game in hand. But for me, this is the game where Brighton have to turn them expected goals into goals. They have to punish this poor Newcastle side. If they want to stay in this league, they have to do it, and it's this game. This is the game where they need a rout. They need to go and smash Newcastle 2 or 3-0 here, send a real message out to them teams at the bottom and saying, do you know what? We're going to have a really good end to the season and we're going to stick Newcastle right down there. Because don't forget, if I think I'm right in saying this, if Fulham, I think goal difference cancels this out, but if Newcastle were to beat Brighton and Fulham were to win tonight, Brighton are in the bottom three. I think that's stopped by goal difference. So it is really tight down there. But look, Newcastle, their downfall is their lack of quality going forward. I genuinely believe this. If Steve Bruce had made these changes quicker against us and they would have had everyone fit and available, no doubt they would have beat us. I saw a lot of things in that Newcastle performance where I thought, you know what? Even though Villa are out of form, they showed a bit of fight. Recently, there hasn't been any fight. I think this is going to be a really cagey game, and I could see either team nicking it. I'm going to go 1-0 Brighton. I think Newcastle really struggled to get goals, and this is the game for Brighton. They have to get the win. Have to if they want to stay up.
Chelsea Morgan, straight to you.
I haven't got much more to add. You've both kind of covered it. It will be cagey. Neither side, they create chances, but they're not very good at finishing them off. There's a lot at stake. They both need to get away from the bottom three, particularly like we said with Fulham's upturning form. 0-0.
Interesting. Next game between two London clubs. Surprisingly, West Ham higher of the two. There's West Ham v Arsenal. Arsenal just lost, obviously, last night, but went through on aggregate. West Ham coming off of that loss against United. Is either team going into this game with confidence? Could you argue Arsenal because they are through, even though they lost? And West Ham because they've just lost, but they still had a good run of form before that. Who do you fancy in this? Because for me, it's I think it will be a close one because, you know, we know Arsenal are bad this season, but they have good games and bad games. West Ham, you know, they're still doing really well. They'll have Lingard back. I don't know whether Fornals will be back, so maybe a change of system to how they play against United. I'm going to go 2-1 West Ham for this one. I think West Ham will win 2-1.
I'm going to go 1-0 West Ham. And I'm only going to say this because I think West Ham will be a lot cleverer tactically. I think they're going to press Arsenal, especially on the London Stadium pitch, which is quite a tight pitch anyway, and quite a small pitch. I could see West Ham players like Antonio and Lingard putting a lot of pressure on those Arsenal defenders. And although Gabriel and David Luiz and Tierney and Cedric have been decent as a back four, I think West Ham are going to get an early goal like Villa did. I think they'll force a mistake, get an early goal, and I think West Ham will have the defensive capabilities to sit out. I'm going to go 1-0, and I think it will be a very similar pattern to when we played them at Villa Park.
Over to you, Morgan.
I'm going to say 3-2 West Ham. I think both sides have got goals in them. Both sides are good going forwards, and I think we'll pick the right holes in the back lines of the opposition. Arsenal, despite the fact that they lost to Olympiacos, were they overly bothered by that game? You could argue they weren't have been, because they had the lead going into the second leg, and they just kind of wanted to make sure they got through, even if it meant losing. West Ham, they lost to United, but like we said, they're on good form. They're fifth in the league. This is their chance to get 11 points to the top four. So, 3-2 West Ham.
Interesting. And then the last Premier League game to predict is the team on everyone's lips at the minute, and it's not Aston Villa. Tottenham, and they are at home to Aston Villa. I said this, surely...
It's the other way round.
It's Villa at home.
It's the other way around.
It's Villa at home.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad, but same principle. Surely there's no better time as a Villa fan to play Tottenham. With knocking out last night, they obviously lost to Arsenal. Surely this has got to be a Villa win. You've got to be confident going into this. But I'm waiting for Morgan to say, well, actually, no, I'm not confident, as he did one time before. I'm going to go 1-0 Villa. I think you'll win this. But again, I think we're still waiting for a Tottenham reaction after the Arsenal and Zagreb game. So who knows? But I'm going to go 1-0 Villa.
The thing is that I'm real in how honest I am as a Villa fan, and I haven't been convinced with what I've seen ever since the coronavirus outbreak. Obviously, Jack Grealish and Matty Cash have been massive misses. There's no hiding the fact that going forward we're a phenomenal team with Kashi and Grealish coming in off the left. Unfortunately, obviously, we lost Bertrand Traore against Newcastle for a freak advertising board-related injury. So I imagine that El Ghazi will keep his place on the right-hand side with hopefully Grealish starting. Look, I would be confident, but the problem is that there's no better time to play Villa right now. And unless Grealish is back, if Grealish ain't back, I do think they're going to beat us. I will be honest, because we need Grealish in this game. And I've got so many Tottenham mates, and all they're saying at the moment is Grealish fit? Is he fit? They don't want to play against him, because they know for a fact that Aurier or Doherty against Grealish for 90 minutes is going to be so funny to watch. It really is. So...
But I still reckon we'll lose.
We need a win. We need a big performance. And like you said, there's no better time to play Tottenham. You've got Hugo Lloris coming out and going that the club are a disgrace right now. They've let their fans down in an interview. They're in disarray right now. So, I'm going to back Villa for a comfortable 2-0 win. I think Tottenham, our defence has been our best part of this season, and watching Kane in that system and watching Bale in that system is so painful. And I think that they are going to struggle to break us down. But the thing is with Villa is whether or not we go 1-0 up. if we take the lead in this game, I've got no doubt in my mind that we will go on and win it, or at least get a point. It's if we go one down, because obviously Mourinho is going to park the bus, as he always does, and Tottenham have the quality to pick us off. They are one of the teams that can pick us off on the counter, so we've got to be very careful. And Dino's probably going to come up with a master plan. But interestingly and weirdly, it's the first time we played them this year because of our COVID outbreak.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't actually played them, so we don't even know how we fare against them. So I'm just praying that Eric Dyer plays for Tottenham. I'm praying, and I'm also praying that Aurier plays as well, because I think with them two clowns at the back, I think we'll have a field day.
I mean, we'll speak about Eric Dyer later on, but Chelsea, Morgan, Villa, Tottenham.
Could this be the worst time to play Tottenham? is my thought, because will Mourinho have got into them in the next couple of days since last night's result, and will they be having the hair dry treatment, rocket up the arse treatment to get them firing again? Or will it just lead to a capitulation where the players are at each other's throats and at the manager's throat, and it all kind of leads to a downward spiral? We'll have to wait and see. I think it'll be towards that end rather than they'll be a much improved side. Villa, like you say, if they can get the players back that they need to, then this could be a much improved Villa side. I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
2-1 Villa. Interesting. We've all backed Villa, so better not let us down.
So Spurs will win.
Yeah, Spurs will win 4-0 and Spurs will win 4-0. Konza will get sent off, and Martinez will have a howler. Right, there's so much to go through. We've been through so much already, but we're quickly just going to do the same score predictions, but this time for the FA Cup this weekend as we reach the quarter-finals. First game is Bournemouth versus Southampton. It's the cup. Anything can happen. I think Bournemouth, apart from Sheffield United, would have wanted Southampton. Look at the other teams. If they wanted a big boy, they could have got a big boy, but if they're looking to go through Southampton or Sheffield United, they've got that. They knocked out Burnley, I think, previously. So, do you know what? It's a tough one to call. I'm going to go 1-0 Bournemouth. I think there might be a cup set here. So I'm going to go 1-0 Bournemouth. So Villa Morgan, over to you for your prediction.
I'm going to go with a comfortable, and this might shock you, 3-0 win for Bournemouth. I think personally, I've been really, really shocked with Southampton recently. They have completely gone off the boil, and I think this is potentially a game that Southampton look at and go, look, we've had a bit of a stinker at the end of the season, and try and go for it. And Bournemouth, not forget that they have got a quality side, and they've managed to keep hold of a lot of Premier League quality. You know, you look at players like David Brooks, Jack Wilshere's there now. I think Dan Schumer out wide, he's been phenomenal for them this season. Solanke started putting the ball in the net. Storage is there. Cook's still there. Both of the Cooks there. So I think Bournemouth definitely have the quality to compete with Southampton. I really do. And do you know what? I think Bournemouth will win this game quite comfortably.
Go on, Morgan. What do you say?
Just saying, Leeds have just gone 1-0 up in their game against Fulham tonight. Luke Ayling had across Areola.
No, for God's sake.
Thank you, Alan McAnally.
I disagree with Morgan's prediction completely. Because Bournemouth have gone completely off the boil in the Championship. They're now sliding out of the playoffs. They've got Cardiff around them. Barnsley have just overtaken them. Swansea are in that battle as well. So there's a few sides that they're dropping points, and they're dropping sloppy points as well. Southampton, since this downturn, they played Wolves in the Cup, beat them, played them in the league the week after, or played them in the week around the same time. It's two completely different sides. I genuinely think they see this as a really good opportunity to get some silverware, which arguably that they need. So Bournemouth probably prioritising the Championship a bit more, getting back in the Premier League. Southampton prioritising the FA Cup. I think 2-0 Southampton, and the Leeds goal just been ruled out for offside.
Thank you, Alan McAnally.
But
do you know what though? It is. Do you know what? It is interesting that you make the point about Bournemouth because, yeah, like recently they have been on a downward spiral. For the last game that they played, I watched them play Swansea, and everything just clicked back into place, and they made Swansea look absolutely horrendous.
You only watched it because Harahan was playing.
Yeah, but either way, Harahan didn't have any time or space in that game, which just shows how good Bournemouth are because he's world class. So,
yes, he is. That's our boy.
Well saved.
No, but Bournemouth were excellent in the game. Bournemouth were excellent in that game, and that's what I'm sort of going off. I think that result is massive in the context of their season, as it was just derailing. They go and lump the second best team in the Championship, and coming into a game against Southampton where there were the massive underdogs against Swansea. You never know, anything can happen in the cup. But
let's not forget this is a derby.
It is as well. So minor bragging rights, I guess.
Yeah,
no one really
it's not the big one on the
Bournemouth,
South Coast, but it is still a derby.
It's a bit like when Yeovil start having a go at us. It's like, oh, you're back now, are you? Right. Next game. Everton versus Man City.
Do we have to do this one?
Well, I mean, it's the FA Cup. Anything could happen. 2-0 City. I can see Villa Morgan just thinking of all the players that are fit. What they've eaten for breakfast and everything, and then he's going to come up with whatever he's going to come up with.
I'm going to go for a cracker. Everton 2, Manchester City 3. 5-goal thriller, loads of goals. I'm expecting Calvert-Lewin to pull his finger out and get 2 when he can't do it for my fantasy every week at the moment. It's annoying me, right? He's going to bang 2 in this, and I'm going to get him out. And then the next week he plays in the Prem, he's going to smash it. But I think City will make changes. They've had a lot of games recently, and I think even though they'll want to win it, I still think Pep will rotate. So we will probably see Kyle Walker, for example, come back into the team. We probably will see either Diaz. We may even see Diaz rested. Stones and Laporte may come in.
It's a joke.
We'll see rotation.
We'll rest Diaz and just bring in Laporte. Yeah, we'll rest Dan James and bring in Dan James.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
We'll rest Ollie Watkins and let him go to the England squad for the Spurs game. We'll just put Keenan Davis in. Same player in it.
Go on, Morgan. Finish us off. Everton City, cracker or
I've got
snooze.
nothing to add on City. I'm bored of talking about them and the quality they've got. 4-1 City.
Morgan, keep talking. Chelsea, Sheffield United. 3,
Right.
4, 5, 6, 10.
You see, the last time we played Sheffield United, we almost got embarrassed thanks to Tony Rudiger. Obviously, we're a bit of a different side now. I mean, we haven't conceded in the last, I think, 8 matches. So defensively, we're very solid. Going forwards, we've looked shaky, but there's signs of goals there. 3-0 Chelsea.
I think
Dylan Morgan.
one thing that I've noticed with Chelsea is, they are so solid defensively, and I think it's going to take a severe mistake like Rudiger, as you've already alluded to, or a real bit of individual brilliance. I think the Minamino goal for Southampton was that. Look, I think I cannot see Sheffield United scoring in this game, but I think that Chelsea won't. I don't think Chelsea will score loads. I could see this being like 1-2-0.
We haven't scored more than 2 in a game at Tuchel.
Wow. Now, I thought you might score more than 2, but
No, we've only
hey-ho.
Yeah. We're not conceding, but because we're so defensively solid, we're building from that foundation. Teams are also very solid because it's taken us a little while to break out. That's where we hit Atletico well. So, yeah, we are struggling to score, but that's got to end at some point.
Do you not? Sorry, Morgan, I want to ask you a question, right? Do you not think that at the moment, watching Chelsea is like a bit of a blur? Because when I watch a Chelsea game at the moment, you win a game, you don't score many, you don't concede. But I can't remember many chances in the game. It's all like a blur.
I struggle to talk about them. When you ask me on here to talk about the Chelsea game, I'm racking my brain thinking, what chances were there? You performed well. Because honestly, they do kind of just go past you and you get a chance. Oh, there was a chance. Then you have to wait half an hour for the next one to come along. And it's all kind of half chances and little bitty bits. And that's where we do need to just kind of get this front three really functioning, as we've seen good front threes in the Premier League do. Mane, Salah, Firmino, Aguero, De Bruyne, Jesus, the front threes that strike fear into the heart of opposition defenders. We need that. And we're getting there, but it's going to take time. And that's why we are just kind of ghosting through these matches, picking up the wins and the draws. We've become quite a boring side, but Tuchel's done what he came to do. He came in and he said, I want to make Chelsea the worst team to play against. And at the moment, he's done that.
Right, so my score prediction, it could easily be 2 or 3. But I don't know why, but why do I get this feeling that Billy Sharp is going to score a penalty and Sheffield United will win 1-0? Why is that? Why is that even a thing? Why
you know
is
the
that
one who
even a
always
thing?
scores against us is David McGoldrick.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go. I'll go 2-0 Chelsea, but it could easily be 3 or 4, I reckon, in this one. So, yeah, I don't think you got any worries, and I think you'll be in a semi-final, mate. And then finally, Leicester against Man United. What a game! What a game! You got in the space of a week, we've got Milan, West Ham, Milan again, and now Leicester.
Lovely run of
and I'm gonna. Oh, it's beautiful. I just love it. I'm going to go 2-1 Man United because our away record will carry us through. Because we can't get beat away. We literally can at the minute. I'll probably curse it now, but we are unbelievable. So, and coming off that win against Milan, it's a great win for us. Win against West Ham. So yeah. 2-1 Man United, and fingers crossed we'll be in another semi-final, which, hopefully if we get there, we can win. So, I'll go 2-1.
I can see Britain in the stars right now. Kelechi Iheanacho was against the red side of Manchester to knock them out of the FA Cup. I'm being serious. Nothing against United
Being
whatsoever.
serious.
I don't do ifs.
But do you know what?
Do absolutes.
Rodgers at the moment is proving that he's got a plan B, and Kelechi Iheanacho has been fantastic over recent weeks. I've saw some Leicester fans, cast their minds back a month ago. They were saying like, "Oh my God, when Vardy's injured, for God's sake, we've got to play Kelechi Iheanacho." But their attitude has completely changed. He's done a complete U-turn there, and him and Vardy up front do honestly look like a real force. And they've found a way to work together, which Iheanacho's getting the goals rather than Vardy, but Vardy is still heavily impacting the play. So, look, I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park for United by any stretch. And I think Leicester at the moment are just it's not the prettiest, but they're still getting these results, and they have got players coming back from injury. United, they should win this game. The amount of injuries that Leicester have, you should win this game. But it is so Man United to go and lose this. It is so Man United. So, do you know what? I'm going to go 1-1. I think it will go to extra time, and I think United will win on penalties.
I mean, I take that. So, yeah, that's fine by me, mate.
Well, you'll be stressed out if that prediction comes true, won't you?
As long as we win, I don't care. I don't care.
It's a really tough one. Second and third in the Premier League. Both sides. United probably in the better form of the two, but only just.
He's got his Chelsea.
I'm going to say 2-1 Leicester. And the only reason I say it is because I do think United are going to prioritise the Europa League now. You've got that run to the final. Leicester have only got the Premier League to worry about, where they're pretty safe in the top four at the moment. I do think that Leicester can divert a bit more attention to this competition than Manchester United. So that's where my 2-1 comes from.
I think I'm not going to get your prediction. I think United now, if Pogba was still injured and Van der Beek was still injured, I know they're both back now, and I don't know what state Cavani will be in, because I think he picked up a late reaction before going to Milan, so he was there to be in the squad, but unfortunately took a knock, I think, just before or the last session before they flew out. So I think we've got, with them players being back and with the likes of Ahmad on the bench, Tellez. Bailly unfortunately picked up an injury somewhere. Of course he did. I mean, water's wet. Bailly's injured. I think we've got enough players there to rotate and still go for this now. If them players were injured, we'd be heavily screwed, and it'll still start McFred. Don't. I've had it. You've ruined me mojo now. You've just reminded me of McFred, and I'm finished. Like, West Ham and Milan both times have done me in. They cannot pass a football.
Every time I see a Manchester United lineup, and it's almost as if they do it to annoy you now. They put even on Sky Sports. They put McFred right next to each other. Every time I just think of you going, "It's time to go."
Bro, if we didn't win last night, and I'll speak about this in a bit, you brought Pogba on left mid and still played them two clowns in the middle. Pogba won the World Cup in a double pivot next to Kante, and he can't start there because he's got two Duracell bunnies in the middle of midfield just flying around the place, unable to pass. Anyway,
Scott McTominay owns Manchester.
Mate,
he owns Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
They both have Ollie's news. That's the only reason they're starting. And thank you for coming to my TED talk. So yeah, I think we do have enough squad depth now. Hopefully, no one's got injured between last night and Sunday. But we've got this squad depth now to rotate a little bit, but still have a good squad. So yeah, I think we'll win. But yeah, again, it's Leicester. It's not exactly good to be an easy game. Right, we're going to move on to the news which come out today regarding both. I don't know how to put this. Regarding the greatest European competition of all time and the Champions League. So we will start with the BTEC Europa League. Real Madrid against Liverpool. I don't want any score predictions. I just want, your feeling of this tie. I mean, is it revenge for when Salah got RKO'd by Ramos? How would you see this one playing out? Because I think this could be a really, really interesting game with Liverpool's form, with Real Madrid doing all right in La Liga, and we've seen what La Liga clubs are like when Chelsea have played them, United have played them, when other teams have played them. So how do you see this one playing out? Chelsea Morgan, we'll come to you first, and then Villa Morgan will come to you after.
It's two European heavyweights. I don't care what you say. It's two European heavyweights under the lights on a Champions League night. This is going to be a tasty tie to watch. Take away league form for both of them. They are both different animals come the Champions League. We saw it with Liverpool against RB Leipzig. Home and away, although it was at the same stadium, they looked a complete different sides. They looked comfortable on the ball. Occasionally when RB Leipzig were getting behind them, they looked shaky, but defensively they looked more solid. Real Madrid beat a very attacking Atalanta side, one that can really punish you if you leave them able to hit you on the counter, and they took their own chances. So whoever wins this would have deserved to win it. I don't see it as Liverpool going, this is revenge for 2019, obviously, or 2018, sorry, because they did win the Champions League the following season. I see this as an evolution of both those sides, where they're kind of a bit weaker from where they were at that point, but still able to serve up magical moments in the Champions League.
I mean, you're completely right about two big clubs going at each other here. Villa Morgan, this is an unbelievable tie. Both clubs doing really well. So, yeah, thoughts on this?
I think to be honest, Morgan couldn't have put it any better himself. I think one big factor that is going to tie into this game is the form of Karim Benzema. At the moment, that guy is on unbelievable form. And if you're looking at, I feel as though Leipzig didn't, Liverpool played well, don't get me wrong, but Leipzig didn't really have the attacking threat to go and hurt Liverpool. Liverpool were left exposed at times, and Leipzig, I felt, didn't really take them opportunities. When you've got a player like Karim Benzema in that 6-yard box, you give him any yard of space and it is game over. So I think it's going to be a massive test for whoever he plays at centre-back, whether it is Kabak and Nat Phillips, whether it is Kabak or Fabinho potentially. Whoever he plays there, they've got to be on their game because, yes, Real Madrid haven't been that great in the league, but they have been strong in the Champions League. So, no, it's too hard to call. When it gets to this stage, it is too hard to call because there's so many variables that go into it. If Liverpool turn up, they could quite easily roll them over, but then if Real Madrid go and turn up, then they can roll them over. So, look, I think Benzema is going to have a big say in this game. I think he is a player that Liverpool should definitely be looking out for because his form at the moment in terms of putting the ball in the back of the net, he is relentless at the moment. So, should be a really good tie.
21 goals for Benzema this season.
Big player for him. Big player. Unbelievable player for him. And obviously the last man standing from the old BBC front three that they had. So, yeah, big player for them. The next tie, Man City against Dortmund. A lot of people saying Haaland will be playing against his future employers. Against his future employers. Dortmund, it's really weird with Dortmund because they've got good players. However, they're 5th in the Bundesliga, but they're still in the quarterfinals of the Champions League now. Do they have a chance? I mean, they've got quality players like Haaland, like you mentioned, Sancho. They have got great players all over the park. Do you think this is because of how the league's going with them? They're currently 5th. They're trying to get, I don't know how many places get Champions League in the Bundesliga. Is this their chance to really focus in on the Champions League and try and go as far as they can now?
It's top 3 get Champions League in the Bundesliga. I think for Dortmund, we've seen it on counter occasions. They have got the quality to hurt you going forward. Brandt, Haaland, Sancho, just to name a few. And we know that even Jude Bellingham, you know, he could have a moment of brilliance. Obviously, we know the quality City have, but this, like Morgan just said, this is the Champions League quarterfinals. Everyone can beat everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, what your squad is. All you need is to perform over 2 matches and you're in a semi-final. So they'll probably have a go at this one, but you can't say that this is their only aim of getting into the Champions League because it's such a risky route to take, putting all your eggs into a Champions League basket. So I can see them giving City a really tough game, but ultimately the quality that's been shown from Guardiola's sides in the Champions League before up to being at City and now this season, I can't see many teams other than Bayern Munich being able to stop this City side.
Well, we're one of them. Villa Morgan, over to you. City Dortmund, thoughts? Haaland gonna send Dortmund through, or is Pep gonna do one over his Bundesliga rivals like he did at Bayern Munich?
This one could honestly go either way because I think Dortmund have one of the, or if not, the best finisher in the world. They have arguably one of the best, if not the best, winger in the world. Dortmund have a story in Jadon Sancho, which would be an absolute travesty. Pep Guardiola, if Sancho comes back and has a masterclass home and away and destroys
and decides for United in the summer,
and it's and do you know what? I don't think Dortmund have a better chance of winning the Champions League than now. They've got Haaland and Sancho and Bellingham and Brandt, and they've got some firepower going forward. And look, City have been common to be absolutely solid at the back. This is the game where they will get put to the test because Haaland is he's almost like a hybrid, you know, in that he's rapid and he's physical. And then you got Sancho playing off him as well. I think this is more interesting than Real Madrid Liverpool because I personally want to see how Diaz, especially, can cope with a world-class striker in Haaland because without being disrespectful, I haven't thought of one centre forward this year that has gave Ruben Diaz a run around. Maybe Salah for 5 minutes against Liverpool, but who cares about Salah?
Can I throw Martial into the mix in the derby?
What would he miss the City?
Go on then, throw him in.
I mean,
look, City. I genuinely believe that if City get through this hurdle, I think they will go on and win the Champions League. Personally, I think they've got. It's a big shout, but I think they have got the quality this year to do it. And last year they fell short because of Pep's bizarre decisions against Lyon. It was a bizarre team that he put out. He completely made a massive mistake, and a manager like Pep Guardiola doesn't make a mistake again. And he is definitely wanting that Champions League with Manchester City, and that is the tip of the plan for him. So look, if they get through this, I think they will go all the way. But this is such a big game, man. Haaland v Diaz is going to be a tasty one, trust me.
It's a when and not if for City winning the Champions League now. They've had the squad for you could almost say 7 years.
Yeah.
Since about 2014, they've probably had a squad capable of winning the Champions League. Ultimately, it's come down to a bit of European naivety from managers and players alike. It's bold to say they'll get through because, as I think we'll touch on later, the side of the draw that they're on is a tasty side of the draw. But there's not been a better year for them for the last 8 that they got.
Definitely. I'm sure we're going to talk about these two names a lot in the summer when we do the transfer window again. But just quickly, Haaland and Sancho. It's an uphill battle, as we've said, for Dortmund to win the Champions League. And at the minute, it looks unlikely that they're going to qualify through the league to get into the Champions League next season. So with Dortmund not having Champions League, I think one of them will go this summer, Sancho and Haaland. For you, do you think it can be both of them? Who do you think's more likely, and where do you think they could go? Firstly, who's more likely? Could it be both? And whoever you think is more likely, where do you think they're off to?
No. But you weren't playing them.
Dortmund are a proverbial selling side. They've proven that, and they do good business when they do sell. They get players in for relatively cheap and sell them for a hefty profit most of the time when they do sell. Who do I think is more likely to go? Haaland, because he's cheaper. Where do I think he'll go? Premier League, because his release clause becomes available next summer. £60 million release clause comes available in 2022. For me, that's when Real Madrid will come sniffing if he's still at Dortmund at that point. So if the Premier League club, like I think there's 3, it's City, United, Chelsea. If any of those 3 want in, they have to move this summer. City have obviously got the most money of the 3, but it depends on who wins the Champions League, who wins the Premier League, which is looking like City, and then what they're offering him within their team. So I'd say City is the more likely destination.
Villa Morgan, who do you think's most likely to leave, and where to? And do you think they can both leave in the summer, Sancho and Haaland?
I don't think they'll let them leave at the same time. I think it will be one of them, and I do agree with Morgan. I think it'd be Haaland. I've heard rumours that City are going to go in for a double swoop of Haaland and Jack Grealish. Fingers crossed that isn't the case. But I tell you what, if you're scared of City now, Jesus Christ, if they get them to. But yeah, I think it'd be Haaland personally.
Where do you think City's most likely, or just from our point of view, he's still got that connection with Ollie at United? I know obviously talks happened before he went to Dortmund, and I think it was something to do with an agent fee, or the release clause he's actually got is the reason he didn't join United. But he's got the Solskjaer link there. Chelsea are also massively, in for him. Even talks with a Werner swap deal for him, which I think is very interesting. So, do you think?
Already.
Do you think City is the most likely of the 3, just because of the money side of it?
I think as well, City are looking. I think City are looking to potentially move Gabriel Jesus on. Aguero as well. I don't think Aguero is going to be sticking around for long. Jesus doesn't really seem to have the trust of Pep Guardiola, especially after that Man United game. I know Pep was quite vocal about him. And, it's bad as a striker in Gabriel Jesus when your manager would rather play midfielders in your position in a false 9. I think Gabriel Jesus, unfortunately, just doesn't really fit the system. And look, I think Haaland to City makes sense. I think it would take City to an even higher ceiling, which I don't think is even possible or within the realms of possibility at the moment. But I think if they get Haaland,
Mikey is on his way.
Oh, dear.
prepare for dominance. I'm sorry, prepare for dominance.
Just say that was a problem.
Definitely.
It's
We'll
funny.
move. Go on.
Sky Sports have just tweeted Man City favourites to sign Jack Grealish.
Yeah,
The thing is, I can't see him. I say I can't see him going to City. If City offer the money and Villa accept, he'll go to City. But I can't see Jack Grealish going to City. Like, I don't know whether it's just me. I just like. Firstly, would he leave Villa to go to City? Probably, but it's City. Would he go there with the likes of De Bruyne and all the midfield players they got when he could go to, I don't know, chuck United in the mix or a Liverpool or a Chelsea, for example, where he could go into that midfield and arguably walk straight into it.
the opportunity to sign Jack Grealish was last summer. He openly come out and said himself after the Burton Albion game that before signing his contract, he had absolutely no idea whether he'd stick a Villa shirt on. This season, I think, has stopped any transfer this summer because now he has saw that Villa are in a position where not only are we still currently competing for Europe, but with a good transfer window again, we will be competing for Europe definitely next season. I can't see him going because he is the fulcrum of our plan. He is Aston Villa. Like we've seen, you take Grealish out of our team, and let's be honest here, we aren't. I don't think we get relegated, but we would struggle. And everything he does within the club, the model is built around him. I cannot see us letting him go, and I mean this, at anything less than 150 million. It has to be a ridiculous fee to get him out the door because this new contract, I imagine, was signed with the intention of him staying and becoming he already is a club hero, but I don't think he'll leave. I think every summer this happens that he's close to joining Man United. City are favourites. He wouldn't have penned a 5-year deal if he wouldn't be staying, and I'm certain of that. Jack Grealish has got the trust of every single Villa fan, and he's living all of our dreams out on that pitch. And I know for a fact that he has too much Villa in him to hurt us, leave us, and then potentially us go completely backwards. I think it's testament to his ability that he gets linked with big clubs because he should be at a big club. But the problem is that he's building a legacy at Villa and he's hopefully taking us from being down the dumps, looking at potentially even going to League One at one point, to now where we used to be under Martin O'Neill and pushing on further. So I personally cannot see him going out the door. I really can't.
It's another one that we'll probably have to look at again in the summer, and another saga that will go on and on and on. But the rest of the Champions League draw. Imagine my shock. Chelsea get the easiest draw possible.
We always get the easy draw, don't we? Bayern, Atletico, Barcelona.
Mate, look at the FA Cup this season. That's all I'm going to say. Right? Well, so, mate, we had to play 8. We went into the Europa League and still had to play AC Milan.
I'm really sorry to interrupt, but there has been 2 massive goals in the Fulham Leeds game. Bamford put them 1-0 up, and Anderson has just equalised. So it's Fulham 1, Leeds 1.
Where's
Alan McAnally gone? I mean, he was on top of it, and then
I thought I'd let you find that one. I was going to put in a half-time bit of coverage.
Oh, no worries, Alan. You're traveling from like when he's at like I don't know, Old Trafford 1 minute, next minute he's at St James's Park in Newcastle or somewhere, like he's everywhere. Anyway, Porto Chelsea.
Yeah,
I believe Malang Sarr can play in this match?
He can, like Diogo Dalot did for you. I think UEFA rules state he can play.
Yeah, because it's not a domestic game. They can play. Obviously, it is the easiest team you could have got out of the other teams. Does that make you more confident or less? Because, sometimes, like myself, when United play teams against the bottom three, I don't like it at all because it's just set out for us to lose. So does this make you more confident or less confident?
I thought of any scenario, all the ties. Who would I like? Who would I not like? Porto come to the top every time of the team that you do want to play because they're the lowest. You look at them on paper, they've probably got the weakest squads. They're in the weakest league, and everything kind of goes, okay, we should be beating them. But look at how they treated Juventus. They got
I was going to say, just on that point, does that win against Juventus not make you look at them and go, hang on a minute, they could be like, obviously I don't say they're the easiest team in this draw, but when you look at all the other big boys in there, they are the team that probably everyone wanted. But they haven't had an easy group and then gone through and then had an easy opponent and gone through. They had a pretty decent group. Now they've just beaten Juventus. Does that not give you a little bit of concern to say they've had a good run to get it? They're not beating nobodies.
It's not just that they beat Juventus, though. It's how they beat Juventus. I mean, they stuck it out 10 men for about an hour with the extra time they played in that tie. And they stuck it out, hit them when they needed to as this really powerful, all-in-one attacking force. They defended all together. There was no gaps. They were solid for that final. I only watched it at the time, but they were solid. It's one where they'll be up for it because they'll also be looking at Chelsea as one of the middle tier sides in this last 8 draw. They'll be looking at it as another kind of Juventus. We can get through this and then get into the semi-final. So obviously it's not easy. It's the quarterfinal of the Champions League. It is the easiest draw we could have had. I was very happy when it got taken out the hat, but I can't shy away from the fact that it is still a Champions League quarterfinal. They're going to be up for it because why wouldn't you be? This is the great chance for them.
Mate, Porto are going to probably go there fearless and give it a good run. And Villamor will come to you. Oh, go on.
I was going to say, the thing that sits in our favour is like the last tie gets out, so we are away from home in the first leg. So if we can get that lead, take it back to the Bridge, we do look a bit more comfortable. We haven't conceded a Stamford Bridge under Tuchel yet. So I'm very confident. I am confident going into this one that we'll get the job done.
Just quickly on that point, a lot of people have said it's better to play at home first and then go away from home after with the away goal rule. United had that United had that against Milan, and obviously because we won 1-0, that away goal was huge. We went through off of that. Do you think it benefits to be home first, then away, or like you've got now, away first and then playing at home with that away goal rule still lingering?
I prefer away first, then home. I think if you can get a lead on away goals, even if you're 1-1, 2-2, you've still slightly got the mental edge that you don't have to score. They do. So I do prefer to be away from home to have something to hold on to rather than have to claw something back in the next leg.
Villa Morgan, come to you. Firstly, the thoughts on that sort of, would you rather play at home first and then away, or away first and then at home? And then secondly, the draw, that fixture itself. What's your thoughts on both of them? Which would you prefer if you were a manager going into a 2-legged tie?
Well, the last time I saw Villa play in Europe was in 2008, watching us against Werder Bremen, and we lost at Villa Park. So in the second leg, which was eventful.
Away goal rule
Europe in that long that I think asking me a question about whether or not I prefer a home leg, I guess, to an away leg. I guess the closest to that is probably the probably the
Carabao
FA
Cup.
Cup when we get a replay. But
Not in the
yeah,
Carabao Cup
do you know what? I'd
Done all this for nothing.
Carabao Cup.
No, that was a banger. That was, but away goals weren't a thing in that. Away goals weren't a thing, so we just did the job without the away goals because we were that good last year. Nah, look. Do you know what? I'd prefer to be away. I think like Tuchel as well. He's so good defensively, it seems, and the system is so good defensively. Even if it was a 0-0, coming back, I just think Chelsea look so good defensively at the moment. I think that Porto are going to struggle to break them down. I think Juve were very expansive within the two games and left themselves open, and Chelsea just simply don't do that anymore. And I think, look, Chelsea have got more than enough quality to go and beat Porto. The only thing that I think gives Chelsea fans that fear is that obviously the side that Porto knocked out. And obviously anything can happen. But look, if Chelsea want a trophy, what better way to get into a semi-final towards one than playing, let's face it, the weakest side on paper out of anyone? And how well Chelsea are doing defensively at the moment, it should be comfortable. It really should.
We'll move on to the final fixture of the Champions League, and that is Bayern Munich against PSG. It's a replay of the final last year. Another cracker. Surely this is going to be. Is it revenge for PSG with how they're doing, or is Bayern Munich the machine gonna power through? Chelsea, Morgan, thoughts on this tie, because it looks like an unbelievable one.
PSG will want to get one up on Bayern Munich, won't they? Yeah, because you lose the final to them, you've got an opportunity to get back at them straight away and show them that you are a changed side, obviously changed manager, changed defence, changed style of play since then. So I do think this is a chance for PSG to right a few wrongs from the final. I still think Bayern are the best team in Europe. I still think they're the best team in world football at the moment. This is going to be a tough task. PSG is starting to find their feet in Ligue 1. They're still not leading the title race there. They are getting back to what you'd expect a PSG side to do. And like I mentioned a couple of streams ago, PSG do have a pressure on them from the French media that they're expected to be at the top no matter what in France. So then they're naturally more tired when it comes to the European nights. I just think that this could be a match that needed to come later in the tournament for them. They needed a Porto or a Dortmund to ease their way through to the semi-final. And I can only see this going one way, and that's Bayern getting through.
Decent. Chelsea, I know you got to shoot off in a minute. Before you do so, we'll hear from Villa Morgan. Then I just want to get your thoughts on the next sort of round of fixtures. So just bear with us a couple of seconds, and by all means, you can pop off, mate. So Villa Morgan, Bayern Munich v PSG. PSG revenge, or the machine is going to come through?
Bayern are just relentless, aren't they? Like let's face it, they've got an unbelievable side. There's quality everywhere. Like they get rid of Thiago to Liverpool, and they're still just relentless. Like I watched the Lazio v Bayern home and away, the two legs. Bayern, I swear, could have honestly, if they'd gone for it, have put about 15 past them. It was ridiculous. Like they just look like they're going to score every single time they go forward. It's mad. Like just watching them, Sané, Lewandowski, Goretzka, Gnabry. It's actually a joke how good they are, and I think it's between them and Man City for the entire competition, personally. But look, PSG, they have got more than enough quality to hurt Bayern Munich. But I'm looking at the all-rounded picture, and Bayern Munich, for me, have a much better system
Yeah,
at the moment that the players are used to. They've got a much settled side. Poch has only just gone in there, and as beautiful as the Barcelona results were, that's not a Barcelona team that is anywhere near what it should be. And I don't think it was a fair reflection on where PSG are at the moment. So, look, I would be very surprised if PSG come out of this game
Oh no.
with the route to the semis. I think it will be Bayern Munich who progress, and it's a shame for PSG because it seems like Bayern are just their villain. They just don't want them to win the Champions League.
Definitely. We've had to change a colourway because we're going on to the greatest European competition of all time, and that is, of course, the Europa League. Chelsea Morgan, before you, I know you got to head off. So quickly before you do so, not only on this tie, just your quick thoughts on sort of the whole draw. Obviously, you got Granada United, Ajax Roma. That's one side of the draw. Arsenal, Slavia Prague, and Zagreb, Villarreal. Arsenal and United, the English clubs, getting reasonably good draws. United probably more so than Arsenal. What are you saying on sort of the overall draw itself for that?
I think Arsenal got no excuse but to get to the final. Listening to that side of the draw, I haven't paid close attention to their side, the Europa League draw, but judging on that side of the draw, they've got no excuse. So you'd expect to see them there with the quality they've got. They've done it 2 years ago. United, because I'd expect you to get through Granada. Ajax and Roma will be sticky wickets. They'll both be decent sides. They've both got European pedigree and with the players they've got. I'd still expect it to be an all-English final, but it won't be easy. And that's how I'll leave it.
Mate, appreciate your time as always. Thanks again for joining us. And good luck to Chelsea against Porto. I mean, I know it's a few weeks away, but you've got yourself a good tie there. And good luck against Sheffield United at the weekend, mate, because you may not need it, but I think you'll get through it. But cheers for coming on again, mate, and appreciate your time.
All best.
Thanks, mate. So, us two again. I'll quickly give my thoughts on this one. Ecstatic with the draw. I mean, I think apart from... See, I don't know. This is probably the best draw United could have got, because if you look at Ajax, Roma, two big clubs, Arsenal's a sticky game for United every day of the week. Slavia Prague beat Leicester, beat Rangers, doing really well in the Europa League. Zagreb beat Tottenham. And then you got Villarreal, who, Unai Emery's at the wheel, so you never know what could happen there. So I think this is the best. Yeah, this is the best draw United could have got, and there's not really too many complaints. I guess the only complaint is we'd have to play Ajax or Roma in the semis rather than Zagreb or Villarreal. But if we get through Granada, you have to play another big boy in a big competition. So that Arsenal have got the easiest route to the final, but I still fancy United to go all the way.
I honestly, I don't think they have. I think anyone that has watched the Europa League this year, Slavia Prague are dangerous. They are a dangerous side. They are not easy. And in my opinion, I think they could beat Arsenal. I'm going to be honest with you, because Slavia Prague beat Leicester. Now, the way that they beat Leicester was not only convincing, but they didn't concede a goal over 2 legs. Bear in mind, Harvey Barnes was playing, Vardy was playing, Maddison was playing. I think in the first leg, they were all playing. Leicester had their strongest side, and Slavia Prague were fantastic defensively. And I'm sorry, but Arsenal have got a mistake in them. At the moment, we've seen, right, with a better opposition, Arsenal get finished. Olympiacos was so poor going forward. So poor going forward. A better side in Slavia Prague who take their chances. Let's not forget they beat Rangers, which is no easy feat. And plus to the fact, they barely limited Rangers to scoring a goal. Rangers scored 9 goals in the last round. Rangers score about 4 every game. So defensively, they're a fantastic side. And if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be worried. I really would be worried because not only have you got to get past Slavia Prague in this round, who have been giant killers in my opinion so far, they then could play Villarreal in a semi-final, Emery versus Arsenal. And I'm not being funny, but Emery tactically over 2 legs proved when he was at Arsenal that he's got it in the locker to produce. So if I was Arsenal, I personally would like to be in your position because I think you lot have got the best draw in Granada, but I wouldn't take them lightly at all.
No.
Because they beat Napoli to get to where they are. And Napoli are no poor side whatsoever. But Ajax v Man United in that semi, which is what I think it will be, that is going to be a massive game. That is
The Van der
massive
Beek
because,
testimonial.
well, it's a massive game because Ajax will know what it means to United to get to this final. And Ajax were very unlucky in their Champions League run last year. They're going to want to get Europa League silverware this year. But look, I think United have definitely got the better side of the draw for me because I personally wouldn't want to be playing Slavia Prague. I think Arsenal have got a really tough fixture there. I really do. And if Arsenal defend the way that they have in this Europa League, I tell you something, Slavia Prague are going to give them a rude awakening. But look, I think the ties will play out as in, I think, do you know what? I think Slavia Prague are going to win. I'm sorry to any Arsenal fans that watch this, but I don't see you getting past them. I think you're too inconsistent, and I think Prague are too good defensively. Now, I might be completely wrong here, but Prague made Leicester look very, very poor. Leicester are third in our Premier League, who have been fantastic this season. And I know you shouldn't look at that type of thing. And yes, Arsenal did beat Leicester 3-1 quite recently, but I think Arsenal are going to underestimate Slavia Prague. And I think Slavia Prague will do them. I really do.
Who's moving
And
the
Arsenal,
goalie?
from Arsenal's point of view, they have to win this game. They have to get through this because they need this Europa League. They need it. It is literally their season. And I think they're just going to crumble because I think they've put all their eggs in one basket and it's just going to catch up on them. And I think the pressure will get to them. They were shocking last night. Anyone that watched, they were shocking. Toothless. Absolutely toothless. Especially without Bukayo Saka. Toothless. So, look, Arsenal have got... The problem Arsenal have got is that they've got so many players that are out of form and then in form. You can't have that in this stage of the Europa League. You can't have Aubameyang one game deciding to turn up and then the next going, now, just take a rest, lads. You can't have Ceballos playing well one week and then giving away clangers the next. You can't have Gabriel having a 10 out of 10 one week and then he drops to a 4 out of 10 the next. Any side like the Champions League, any side that you play in this stage of the competition are there through merit. And look, Slavia Prague, I think, are going to win this one. I really do. And I think Villarreal will win their tie. I think United will win their tie. And I think Ajax will win their tie.
Yeah, I think you summed them up very well. I mean, the United Granada one, the thing that puts me in not more confidence, I'm always confident for a United game, but with this tie is we played Sociedad in the same competition who I think lie fourth in La Liga. Granada lie 8th or 9th. I think they've got a minus goal difference in the league as well, Granada. So, yes, they've beaten Napoli and we're fully aware of that. And, you don't get to a quarter-final now with, being bad. So, they're a surprise package, of course, but like Chelsea with Porto, it's the best draw we could get, and we got them. And then
what do you personally want to see from Man United in this game? Because for me, the way that you approached the Real Sociedad game was perfect. You killed the first leg, and made it comfortable in the second. Because the thing is with United is that with Pogba back now, you have got the attacking talent and no excuses whatsoever but to not plummet these lot. And in my opinion, if I was a United fan, I would be looking for 2 to 3-0 to go back. I really would. I'd be looking at getting two away goals and in this first leg off and this tie off, because United are a club that needs a bit of silver. Ollie needs this silverware, and he doesn't want to be in a situation where you're going into that second leg with potentially a 0-0. And if Granada go and put the ball in the back of the net in the first minute, for example, you're scrambling for 2 goals. Ollie's team selection will be really interesting because we know he likes McFred. We know obviously it annoys you and stuff, and other Man United fans as well. But this is where the results matter with Ollie now. The league is almost done. You've pretty much secured your top 4. You have to go for this. And I think it's really, really interesting how Ollie rotates, because you aren't definitely in the top 4 yet, but this is what you want to win. And there'd be nothing worse than you losing on the route to the final and watching Arsenal lift the Europa League. You imagine that happening. So, yeah, you've got to. Yeah, it's a big consideration, isn't it?
I think, like I said earlier, we've got players in our squad now where if he rests, let's face it, Bruno's a mad idiot. He'll play every game he can. He'll play a game every day if he could. He wants to play that much. So this is I don't know whether for the first leg you do it or for the second leg, but at some point over the 2 legs, this is where you give players their chance. Like Telles will come in and play to give Luke Shaw a rest. You may even see Tuanzebe come in to give Lindelof or Maguire a rest, because Bailly's out injured now. So Lindelof and Maguire are going to play alongside each other for quite a few games now. So Tuanzebe probably will come in to give one of them a break. Van der Beek, this is the ideal game to give him a rare start. You know, he's not a kid. He's 18 and he's got no experience. He's 23. You know, he's played in this competition. He knows what it's about. So it's the ideal game, you know, to give him a start, to get him back into it. But hopefully as a number 6 and not as a 10, because I think a number 6 is best position. You'd like to see, you know, depending on the fitness of Pogba, you know, possibly playing him, playing one of McFred in this game, giving Dan James another game, Ahmad possibly starting a game. You know, I think he's due a start soon with, you know, how well he's been doing. And then Cavani, you know, however fit he may be, you know, give him this game to give him some match fitness. Martial, if he's back, Rashford with his injury. There's a lot of scope in this team to rotate and still put out a very good team. So I'm not saying you have to change everyone and play, you know, De Gea. Look, that's another one, De Gea or Henderson. Who'd you play there? But, you know, I'm not saying you change the whole team, but you pick and choose players, and you should be able to rotate and still have a very, very good team, which should win both legs, arguably comfortably, but because it's Man United, should win both legs. So, yeah, I expect changes and, you know, players to get their chance, which they deserve. So, yeah, Granada versus Man United. I actually, Roma, like we've mentioned, huge tie, and obviously the winner of this game will play the winner of Granada and Man United. Then on the other side, Arsenal, Slavia Prague. And then the last game we will talk about is Dinamo Zagreb against Villarreal. And as I mentioned, Unai Emery at Villarreal. And then Zagreb, who are arguably the surprise packages, knocking out Tottenham. You know, 2 goals down, manager in prison, 3-0. No bother. We'll go through, lads. I mean, what a story.
I tell you what, Orsic is giving me nightmares already. I can imagine his man of the match card on FIFA coming up against that in the weekend league. I can almost envisage every person bringing him on with 10 minutes to go. But in terms of like real football, I mean, what a result for Zagreb. You just saw what it meant to them as well, and you know, it was fully deserved. Tottenham were absolutely disgusting. And didn't deserve to go through. It was a tie of two halves, pretty much. One, Zagreb absolutely slaughtered them, and yeah, Tottenham did really well in the first leg, but you can't go to Zagreb and just think that you're going to coast it. For a Mourinho side to deplete like that and concede 3 goals, especially in the manner, like, oh my God, Orsic's third goal, 5 players not even trying to tackle him, and he just runs past them all and sticks it in the top corner, and you just sat there thinking, I will get on to the tie in a minute, but you sat there thinking, Eric Dyer for England. Are you sure?
Well, hold that thought.
Are you sure?
Hold that thought, because we'll speak about him in a minute. But, the tie itself, it was Orsic had a party.
Well, the maddest thing is that Tottenham fans will be sitting there going, if only we'd have beat Zagreb, which we should have done, we could have played Villarreal, smashed them up, and got Arsenal in the semi-final. Best revenge ever. Mourinho gets to a final against Man United, set up for it, but Tottenham were just terrible. But look, Zagreb have showed that they've got more of quality to beat a big team. They've already beat Tottenham, who, let's be honest, they have one of the best forward lines in world football. I know Son wasn't there, but Tottenham are still a fantastic side. And Villarreal, look, they haven't been doing great this season under Unai Emery. I think they've suffered with a lot of draws. I think it's 13 in total, if I remember, but they've only actually lost 5 games this year. So they seem tough to beat Villarreal. So don't get me wrong, it'll be a tough game over the 2 legs. But do you know what? I fancy Zagreb to get through this. I really do. I fancy Zagreb to... I want Villarreal to go through for the whole Unai Emery and Arsenal thing. But thinking about it, I don't know what it is about Zagreb. I just have that weird feeling. I know I said about 5 minutes ago that Villarreal will go. Do you know what? I'm going to backtrack. I think Zagreb might progress,
Interesting. Just to end up on the stream, we got the England team news for the upcoming international break. Yeah, believe me, mate, I feel exactly the same. So we'll just run through it and note, any absentees we feel should be in there and players who I don't know who are in there. So goalkeepers, Dean Henderson, Sam Johnston, Nick Pope. Pickford is out injured, I believe. So, Sam Johnston comes in, fair play to him, ex-Villa, ex-United, as we've spoken about previously. Does deserve it. He's been fantastic. Defenders, Chilwell, Connor Cody, Eric Dyer, Reece James, Harry Maguire, Mings, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Trippier, and Kyle Walker. I know one player you're going to speak about who is in there. I also know a player who you're probably going to speak about who isn't in there. And I'm going to speak about one who isn't in there. And I don't know what he's got to do to get in it. So for you, I'm guessing, well, and for me, I don't know how Eric Dyer is still in the England squad in 2021. And I guess for you, how is Ezri Konsa not in there? And for me, Wan-Bissaka, again, what does he have to do to get in over the likes of Dyer, arguably Mings, Trippier, definitely, and Kyle Walker?
I am absolutely stunned. Absolutely stunned. Ezri Konsa has been, for me, the best English centre-back in the Premier League this season. John Stones barely has to defend for Manchester City. I'd beg anyone, please watch Ezri Konsa. Just please watch him. How he hasn't got into that England side. Eric Dyer does not even start for Tottenham. It's a disgrace.
Did last
it's an
night
absolute
lost.
Disgrace. He has been robbed. Ezri Konsa has been absolutely robbed of an England call-up. And if I was him, I'd be fuming. I'd be absolutely fuming. What does he have to do to get into that England squad? Gareth Southgate shoots himself in the foot when he goes, Ollie Watkins hasn't really been round the England squad before, so we're going to put him in there and see how he goes. Why doesn't the same thing apply to Ezri Konsa? Yes, he's been there at youth level at times, but the guy has been arguably one of the best and most consistent centre-backs in the league this year. He tops the stats for blocks, interceptions, tackles per game. He saves Tyrone Mings' back every week. That Newcastle game, he stopped us from conceding 5. Mings shouldn't be in that squad. I'm sorry, he shouldn't. It should be Ezri Konsa. And someone else that I want to mention as well that I think deserves a bloody chance is Matt Targett. He has been sensational this season. Absolutely sensational. The only person who tops his stats in English left backs this season is Luke Shaw. The only person. And yet Ben Chilwell, who isn't even a regular for Chelsea anymore, is in the squad. Matt Targett is part of the defence that has kept 14 clean sheets this season. 14. And yet one Villa defender is in there. And guess what? It's been the worst one out of the 4. So it makes absolutely no sense. I can see why Trippier's in there because, like I said before, he can play left back, he can play right back. I understand that one. Kyle Walker, I'm a bit unsure on because he doesn't get game time for Man City, especially when you got Wan-Bissaka now going to Congo. Well done, Gareth Southgate. Eric Dyer and Connor Cody has just absolutely mind-boggled me. How Ezri Konsa is apparently not better than those two actually hurts. Oh my God.
Well, the thing is, I think Ezri Konsa definitely deserves a shout in there easily. I mean, you look at some of the names in there now. I'm happy to see Luke Shaw get a call up. I think he has been outstanding, nothing short of excellent over the past month or two. But Wan-Bissaka just blows my mind, to be honest, how, he hasn't picked Trent because he hasn't been at the level he has been for the previous couple of years. Yet he can't pick a player who's at his best level in the past couple of years and, is arguably one of the best right backs in the league behind maybe Cancelo and, any other name you probably want to chuck there. But Wan-Bissaka is easily top 3 right backs in the league. Reece James is probably there, but I think Wan-Bissaka is easily second, could arguably be top. And, this is some of his stats over the recent seasons. So this is him amongst the league's fullbacks. 18-19, first in tackles, second in blocks, first in interceptions, where he led the league, not just fullbacks. 19-20, first in tackles, led the league, first in blocks, led the league, first in interceptions. 20-21 now, first in tackles, he leads the league, first in blocks, leads the league, and first in interceptions. I don't know what more this bloke has to do to get in the England squad. And look, if he's off to Congo, best of luck to him because he deserves to play international football. But Southgate is so contradictory of himself. It's unbelievable. He drops Trent for not playing well and doesn't pick a right back that's, in the form of his life at the minute. And, a lot of people say, he's not very good going forward. He's come on leaps and bounds going forward. And, at times it's like you had the heebie-jeebies at him going forward. Do you think he'd give it away? Not now. I don't get scared when he's in that final third thinking, he's not very good there. Beginning of his United career, you would have been like, yeah, he's a little bit doubtful there, but not anymore. You're fully confident in him. And Southgate is just so contradictory. It's beyond my mind, to be honest. And we could be here all night. We've been on here long enough. So we'll just skim through these players. Midfielders, Jude Bellingham, Foden, Jesse Lingard back in the England squad, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice and James Ward-Prowse. Notable injuries to obviously Grealish and etc. Loads of players out injured in midfield. So that's a decent looking midfield. I think, Calvin Phillips has been all right. Madison, injured as well. So, I think that's probably the best we got at the minute in terms of injuries and what's available. But fair play to Lingard as well, get back in the England squad. I think he's deserved it based off his form, isn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's been fantastic for West Ham. So yeah, brilliant.
Excellent. And then just the forwards quickly.
There's the boy.
Calvert-Lewin, Harry Kane, Marcus
There he
Rashford,
is.
Bukayo Saka, Raheem Sterling, and I'll let you say the last name.
Mate, I've waxed lyrical about this kid all season. He deserves it so much. I've never been more happy other than Jack Grealish of a Villa player making that England squad. The work that kid puts in week out for the team and how his overall game. And before we do wrap this up, I've seen an awful lot of Leeds fans attack Ollie Watkins, and I think you should stop personally because do you know what? Put your agendas aside. Ollie Watkins is a more complete striker than Patrick Bamford. You can go and get me footage that proves that Bamford's a more complete striker. Bamford is really good in a Leeds system. Ollie Watkins is a good all-round striker. His hold-up play, runs are so intelligent. His finishing is questionable, but you know what? It's the fact that he gets into those positions in the first place, and maybe being at an England training camp with the best strikers in the world, some of them like Harry Kane, he's going to learn and get better at finishing. And Bamford has been fantastic this season, don't get me wrong, but Gareth Southgate, one thing I will give him credit for is that he fully justified his decision as to why he has picked Watkins over Bamford. And his credit, you could have flipped a coin between the two of them. But obviously, I know that Ollie Watkins probably won't get any minutes. He may in the third game. He may come on and make a little cameo. But I think it's more for the experience. And Ollie Watkins is definitely going to be an England striker to come. I think he's going to be a real part of the future of England. I'm pretty sure of that because not only can he play striker, he can also play out wide if we need him as well. So I don't think people realise, you can't put Bamford out on the right or the left, can you? So, there's versatility there as well with Watkins. But with Sancho out injured at the moment, there's no better opportunity but to give Watkins a well-deserved call-up.
Yeah, and as much as it pains me to say it, being an Exeter player, he's done well. He's done well for you lot this season, and the same with Bamford. Like I said, toss of a coin, but Watkins has got a bit more versatility to him. To be honest, I'm just still mind-boggled that Wan-Bissaka's not in there at all. To be honest,
I'm like that with Wesley Conson, mate.
He's dropped Trent, and he had even replaced him with one of the best right backs in the league. Well, sorry, the best English right back in the league. So, yeah, that's all to say on that. To be honest, I mean, he's so contradictory. It's unbelievable because he drops players because they're not playing well, and then he doesn't pick players when they're playing well. So, go on.
I just think to end on, I think the thing is, obviously, yes, this isn't the final squad, but this squad is pretty much, bar a few, this is going to be the squad. I imagine that Ollie Watkins, for example, won't be a part of the final squad. Sancho will probably come in. Grealish will come in as a forward as well. And I imagine, a few more will drop out.
So just quickly on that point, then we look at the likes. So obviously we know the players injured will come back in. The likes of Maddison surely comes back in. Grealish, Sancho, players like that.
Barnes.
Is there? Yes, Harvey Barnes.
Barnes could be back.
Is there still a chance players like Ezri Konsa, Wan-Bissaka can get in that England squad before the Euros? Even though they're not in it now, is there still a chance? And do you think Trent will be in it for the Euros because he's out of it now? Southgate's come out and said he's not playing well. So do you think any of them three have a chance? Konsa, Wan-Bissaka, Trent?
I think the defenders will be the same. Bar any injuries, I think the defenders will be the same. I would hope that Aaron Wan-Bissaka would be the first replacement. He should be in the squad anyway, but I would hope that if Trippier got injured, Wan-Bissaka would come in. And I would hope that if Connor Cody got injured, Konsa would come straight in. Not that I'd ever wish injury upon anyone, but Konsa and Wan-Bissaka, for me, England's back four at the Euro should be, if it was a back four, Wan-Bissaka, Konza, Stones, and Luke Shaw. I think they've been the best 4 English defenders this season by an absolute country mile. And it's just a shame that, unfortunately, as well as players can play, Gareth Southgate quite clearly does have his favourites. And it's a massive shame for players like Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Ezri Konsa, who deserve a chance at the national team. And yeah, look, Jack Grealish had to fight for so long to get in that squad. Wan-Bissaka's going through the same thing. Once he's in there, he'll be fine, but it's whether or not he moves to Congo now. And I hope he does. I really hope he does.
Yeah, he deserves to be playing international football. There's no doubt about that. It's just, I think it hurts more when he is easily good enough to play for England. And he chooses, well, he doesn't get picked. And then, he decides, well, you're not going to pick me, I'll go represent this country. So, I think that's the most annoying thing. Just to finish up on the keepers, Pickford out injured. When he comes back from injury, do you think he's straight back in for, I guess the obvious replacement would be Sam Johnston? Do you think he comes straight back in? Because Southgate loves his favourites, doesn't he?
Nick Pope.
Oh my God.
For me, Nick Pope is hands down England's best keeper right now. Like, it isn't even a competition. Pickford,
not even with
obviously, is
Henderson.
detrimental. Yeah, I think Nick Pope, for me, physically can't do any more to warrant that number 1 shirt. He's been so good for Burnley for so long, and he's almost gone under the radar, really. He's just been in and around the England squads because Pickford has been the number 1, but I don't rate Pickford at all. I don't trust him at all. And I just don't. Jordan Pickford is just not the future of England. He's too erratic for me as a goalkeeper, way too erratic. And someone that Nick Pope, he just provides so much security to them defenders. Any defence that you put in front of him are going to be confident when you've got him in goal. Fantastic at shot stopping and brilliant in the net. So I'd like it ideally if Southgate took them 3 keepers to the Euros, if I'm being honest, because I don't think Pickford deserves it. But obviously we know that Pickford will come back into the squad, Johnson will go, and Pickford will probably play every single game of the Euros and cost us a semi-final or something. So Southgate clearly knows what he's doing. And look, we're not England managers for a reason, but I tell you something, he clearly hasn't watched Konza or Wan-Bissaka much this season, because they walk into that squad, I'm sorry. Based on the names in front of me there, they absolutely walk into that squad.
Definitely, mate. And I think that's where we ought to end it, because, we've spoken a lot on this show, and, I think our frustration for both Konza and Wan-Bissaka is shown. So, that will wrap up this week's episode. If you have watched it all, we do appreciate your time. There's been a lot to get through, and we've tried to get through it as quickly as we can, but with good conversation to follow it. So, Morgan, as always, I appreciate your time, and thank you again for joining me.
No worries, mate. No worries. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much, mate. And as always, if you are watching, please make sure you do like the video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. It's free. Hit the red button. Trying to hit 50 subs. I think we're 10, 11 away. So if you do so, that would be fantastic. Follow our Twitter for football news. And from me and Morgan, we'll see you again next week at some point. It'll be on our Twitter when we do go live. So make sure you give that a follow. And we'll be back next week with all the roundup of all the football news again, and see what's going to go down next week. So thank you for watching. I will see you later. Thanks, guys.